Hello everybody, this is me, Alex. Yep, it's just me, Alex. And in this episode of Let's Talk About, we're going to speak to the MCMC chairman, Dr. Fazul, to talk about 5G in Malaysia. So as you already know, 5G will be rolled out in Malaysia by end of this year. Yep, that's the end of 2021. And as announced previously, the Malaysian government is going to allocate the spectrum to a single government entity, or better known as a special purpose vehicle. So the question is, why is Malaysia going with the SPV approach? How does the MCMC ensure that Malaysia gets a quality 5G network? And most importantly, how do they going to ensure that Malaysia going to get fair pricing on 5G services? Without further ado, let's talk to the chairman himself. Hi, Dr. Fazul. Good afternoon.
Afternoon. Hi.
Okay, let's get started with the SPV, which has been revealed as Digital National Berhad. In most countries, the 5G spectrum is usually auctioned out to the telcos. But we'd like to know that why is Malaysia taking the SPV approach? Was there like a study conducted to indicate that this is the right way to go for Malaysia?
The first answer I'll say is this. Has the world ever had COVID-19 before? The moment you have COVID-19, the whole dynamics of the world changed. There's no benchmark that you can do with regards to having a pandemic. Yet, technology needs to be adopted. New networks need to be developed, and hence you have to find ways and means to get the job done. Okay, in the days of no COVID, one can talk about auction, one can talk about in a single entity delivering it. There are many models all over around the world. Okay, and you must also appreciate that all around the world before COVID, the dynamics of a market is unique to that particular market. Okay. But now you have a situation where COVID had happened. The country realized that connectivity is so key, and we all had our own challenges in getting connected. Many of us who had to work from home, some of them who had to work from a suburban area, who all complained that, hey, what's happening? My connectivity is not at the level that I need. Okay, and therefore, when the nation, the market, especially together with the regulator, came up with the Jendela plan, one of the key things then was to make sure that we had more fiber being laid aggressively, coverage of 4G to be widened aggressively, quality of services to be increased aggressively. Okay, now that comes with a high cost. Then suddenly, Malaysia needs to be highly attractive to the investing market. Investors come and they say, oh, Malaysia is not in the 5G space, and therefore we think we'll go to some other country that had claimed to have a 5G story to it. In light of that, we needed to look at what would be the right model. Okay, and the only way that we can actually do that we have better control of the effort is to have a SPV owned by the government. Okay, the decision on the SPV is not done by the regulator ourselves. It is done no less by the cabinet of the government of the day. Technical side, views from the economic side, views from the investing requirements, and all that were put to the table for discussion, and thereof the decision had been made. And the job of us as a regulator is to make sure that it is done the best way, most robust, and on a transparent basis. Okay, so if you ask me, has there been any model like this before with COVID? I don't think so. I may be wrong, but I can assure, as far as our reading goes, with COVID in play, there has not been any models that anybody could emulate.
Okay, just to add on that, because this is very different from how Malaysia rolls out 3G and 4G, perhaps can you elaborate like what are the key advantages of having SPV versus the traditional way of giving spectrum to the telcos?
Probably 3 to 4 main reasons. Okay, technically, okay, I'm not going to justify about the SPV, but I will tell you what the technical rationale is. When you need a high speed and highly efficient network, mobile network in this case, what is important is to ensure that you have the right amount of spectrum. If the amount of spectrum is limited, and if you have to share it with many, many parties. Therefore, each party gets a small chunk of the spectrum. Therefore, the quality of the network in its ability to cater for a high number of users would be low. And you and I, as end users, will then make a hell of a fuss as to why am I not getting the speed that I think I should get. Okay, because don't forget, internet is not a dedicated network. It is a shared network. So that's the first reason. The second reason, when you have a lot of networks, you will obviously have to do a lot of investment. With investment comes cost. But who pays for the cost? It is you and I as consumers. If the cost is lower, obviously we will get a lower price package. It's as simple as that. Okay, there's no free lunch, and the operators are there effectively to make sure that they have good returns. Okay, so that's the second thing. And with this investment, invariably, most of the cost would be a foreign outflow, because Malaysia, we do not make our own equipment, right? So we are largely users of technology, and therefore we procure equipment from other countries. So therefore, the foreign exchange, foreign outflow would actually increase. So if you can reduce the foreign outflow, there is actually a positive impact to the local economy. The third thing is, when you auction, the government will get some funds from the value of the auction. However, the cost of the auction is to be borne by the operators. Again, a similar principle. If there's cost, somebody needs to pay for the cost. Guess who? It's you and I as users who will have to pay for the cost. All right. And hence, when you look at those three main reasons, one, you need capacity. Therefore, you need to have a lot of spectrum to be made available. Multiple versus single. Obviously, the single entity will have more spectrum than multiple entities. Reduce cost. Forgo the spectrum auction. But don't forget, the spectrum is a resource that belongs to the country. So you and I as Malaysians say, hey, wait a minute, this is a national resource. Why isn't the country getting any money? And the operators are private operators. Hence, the reason of the SPV being a wholly owned government entity would only make sense because it is not owned by a private entity. It is still owned by the government. Okay? And it is then utilized to make available the network on a wholesale basis to the retailers. Okay? So those are the three main reasons why you may want to consider a single entity as opposed to having multiple entities offering the service via multiple networks.
Now I want to move on to the cost. So Ralph Marshall, the CEO of Digital National, has said in a recent interview that the government will fork out 15 billion ringgit to fund the 5G rollout over 10 years. However, you recently told Bernama that the 15 billion ringgit actually comes from the private sector. And this was also mentioned by the Finance Minister, Tengku Zafrul. Can you elaborate further on the source investment and how is it going to be rolled out?
If you want to know, you're going to ask Ralph Marshall. I won't be able to answer, the comments made by Ralph Marshall. I can only respond to the statement made by myself. Okay, which is it is going to come from the private investment. Now, how it will come? It will be through the SPV, and the details will probably be best answered by the SPV. As a regulator, we are very clear with the principles. The SPV is 100% owned by the government, and funding will be from the private sector.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Next one will be, the MCMC has said that DNB will be treated like a telco, so it will be subjected to the same regulatory policies and laws to ensure that they deliver the promised quality and standards. Yep. There are people who doubt that the MCMC will be able to take action on the government entity. What do you have to say about that, Doctor?
First and foremost, people need to understand the law. The law is very clear. Okay, under the Communications and Multimedia Act, anybody who provides a service that is licensable must be licensed. Okay, and the DNB, it will be licensed by MCMC, and thereof we uphold the rule of law, where we will then take action in the event that the licensee does not adhere to the requirements of the license.
With the SPV, our telcos don't actually own the network, so they gain access through a wholesale agreement. So let's say if a user gets a bad 5G experience, it could be something wrong with the tower or maybe something wrong with the signal strength. What happens? What's the process to resolve these kind of issues?
You will, as end users, our relationship is with our service provider, which means it could be any of the existing service providers or any other licensed service providers. Okay, today on the mobile space, you have both customers of mobile network operators, and you also have customers of mobile virtual network operators. So imagine now you are a customer of a mobile virtual network operator. Who do you complain to if you have problems? Do you complain to the network provider, or do you complain to the provider that provides you a service? Obviously, you complain to the MVNO that provides you the service, right? Now, for the MVNO, it would only be logical that they would have some form of SLA with their mobile network operator, which is what we do today anyway. Because as a licensee, you are governed by the mandatory standards of quality of service. Okay, therefore, it will be only prudent for any entity to actually have a SLA with their back-end provider. So the same will probably be applied, okay, as a business requirement. It doesn't have to be in a license, okay, because it is a natural business requirement, okay, and wholesale entity, they will have to conform to the quality standards of a network as provided for by the regulator, enshrined in the Malaysian technical standards that we issue out from time to time, that is actually industry driven.
All right. Also, when it comes to 5G, people expect speed, and some people think that faster speeds might translate to higher costs. So how does the MCMC ensure fair pricing? Is there like a price cap that's set on the actual 5G retail services, or is there like a mandatory standard on access pricing similar to what's imposed for fixed broadband?
There will be mandatory standards on access pricing, obviously. Okay, that is at a wholesale level. Remember, the model is that the DNB will provide it at a wholesale level. If you expect MCMC to regulate at the retail pricing, I don't think that is a wise request. Okay, you don't want to have that kind of a market in Malaysia, because you and I as consumers, we would like to have an open market where competition is high, that we as consumers will benefit. But certainly in ensuring that cost of a new service is kept low, as I explained just now, we are trying to reduce all the key big ticket items on cost. So hopefully with that, the wholesale cost could also be kept low so that the end retail product would be priced favorably for the end user.
So in terms of a 5G rollout, what can Malaysians expect in terms of coverage and services available by end of this year? Has there been like a set target for 5G coverage in Malaysia?
It will be announced in due course, okay, by the DNB, because they are the ones rolling it out, okay. But for sure, there will be a 5G area that is available commercially this year, okay. Now, I think anybody in their right mind would not expect 5G to be available throughout the nation in 6 months' time. Okay, so therefore, like in all networks, there will always be a phased approach, and it will be undertaken, with due care to make sure that the end service to the end consumer is at the level that is to be expected.
Dr. Fazul, are you able to elaborate on the type of spectrum that will be allocated to the DNB?
We have mentioned before that we have identified the 5G spectrum, okay, which involves the 700 megahertz, the 3.5 gigahertz, and the 28 gigahertz. Okay? So those would be the spectrums that we will allocate to the DNB. We will certainly adhere to a national spectrum plan, which we will, which we have, and we will make it public in due course.
Dr. Fazul, right now, the political situation is somewhat shaky. And it's a big if there's a change of government, how does the MCMC ensure the continuity of the 5G rollout as well as other MyDigital initiatives?
As a regulator, we are always governed by the policies set. Okay, certainly what we are doing today is institutionalized. Okay, and hopefully that would stand in good stead, no matter come what may, whichever government of the day is in place. The reality is this, okay? We've gone through many governments, okay? From the day we had CMA in 1998, okay? Yes, people could argue it was the same government who got elected in. But here we are, still today at MCMC, ensuring that the public has the right level of services. Okay, investment for communication services is high, and today we've also gotten 5 states already adopting communications as a third utility. 2 more should be coming on board soon. Okay, I just came back from these 2 states over the weekend, and that augurs well for us as Malaysians. So I'm sure every 5 years we live in a democracy. We have to accept the fact that governments will change. Governments will, even if it's won by the same party, it might be a different leader. Okay, so as a statutory body, we have our framework which we will adhere to, and I'm quite sure any good government would want to make sure that their voters would get the right level of services at all times.
Thank you, Dr. Fazul. Do you have any closing remarks to wrap up this interview? Any last words to people who are eager to start use 5G in Malaysia?
Yeah, we are always eager for new toys. Okay, but at the same time, do appreciate that new toys. You need to also test it out slowly and patiently. As we said, 5G will be made available by year end. I have to qualify; it won't be nationwide immediately, but it will be there. Okay, and the rollout would be intelligently shaped to make sure that it meets where the demand is highest, yet at the same time minimizing any potential digital divide. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fazul, for being with us on Let's Talk About, and we look forward to the rollout of 5G very soon.
Yeah, thanks again, Alex. Take care.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
So just to recap, the Digital National Berhad, despite being a government entity, it will be funded by the private sector. How is it going to be funded? Well, the details isn't clear at the moment, and we need to wait for more information from Digital National Berhad. In terms of 5G rollout, there isn't any at the moment, but MCMC has said that they will provide more details when the time comes. But realistically, it looks like they're going to focus primarily on the city centers and maybe the main economic zones. So if you're staying at smaller towns, you probably got to wait a while before 5G covers your area. On the pricing and the quality standards, the MCMC has stressed that they will treat the Digital National Berhad like any other licensee. So that means that if there's anything wrong, you can lodge the same complaint and it'll take the same action like any other telco. Just to recap, with the SPV, our telcos don't actually own the network. So they're going to gain access through a wholesale agreement. So it's kind of like the telcos are going to act like a mobile virtual operator. So something like, TuneTalk or YouDo, you don't own a network, but they can provide a service. So if you have an issue, you do the same process as well. You complain to the service provider. If let's say if something is wrong on their network, so they need to report to the owner of the network, which is the SPV. And if let's say these parties don't get the problem solved, your next course of action is to complain to the MCMC. And from there, they'll escalate to the right parties and they'll solve the issue for you if you don't get a satisfactory response. That's all we have for now. So if you have any questions or comments, please drop them in the comment section down below about Malaysia's 5G rollout. If you haven't already, please subscribe us on the YouTube channel and give us a like on Facebook. And in case you didn't know, we are also available on podcasts. So just search for Soya Chin Chow on your favorite podcast app. So this could include Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Give us a like if you like this episode of Let's Talk About, and do consider giving us a 5-star rating on your podcast app so that will help us to reach out to more viewers. And that's all for now. This is Alex, and see you guys later in the next episode. Bye!